What's going on, Internet? Ricky Frech, senior staff writer for DualShockers.com here. Recently, I got to play some of the FIFA 21 beta, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the gameplay. Now, I can't actually show you FIFA 21 gameplay. EA is going to do that on their own, but what I am going to do is get a little creative, get a little bit out there, and we're going to look at FIFA 20 and try to show off some of the concepts and ideas that the team is trying to implement in FIFA 21. So, is it better? Is it going to be any good this year? It's still probably too tough to say, but let's go ahead and look at some of those ideas. Why don't we? All right, so we're going to start off with the big one. This is what the team is calling creative runs. So in FIFA 20 and most of the FIFAs that I've played recently, one of your options for creating in the attack is to either call for support or to send a player on a run. So you have a little bit of control over where your AI teammates are going, but not a ton. So let's watch here. I believe this is Baresi, and he's taking the ball, and he's going to send right here. I'm pressing LB or RB. I think it's RB for send for a run, but I'm going to send Zidane on a run. And if you'll watch him, he just kind of goes straight. He doesn't, there's no real like plan here. You know, what is he doing? Where is he going to go? He just goes straight from wherever he was first situated. He's just going to go straight on that run. It doesn't really matter where the space is. He doesn't care. Maybe I'll stop and draw a circle here, but there's no real reason for him to just go this way when Pele is standing up there. He's running into Pele's space. There's no point, right? And then we're going to keep the clip rolling for a second, and we'll see right here. I'm going to call for Ronaldinho to call for support. Now, really, I don't need the support, but I just wanted to show this off in the same way. So Ronaldinho is going to come for support, but instead of really, he's going to offer himself a little bit, but for the most part, he's just running right at me. You know, like this pass, him coming into this area doesn't really open anything up. In fact, you could argue right here, before I call for support, he's probably in a better spot because then he can hit either Zidane or Pele and put them right in front of the box for a potential shot. But when he comes here, he's not really doing anything. Now, if he's right here, maybe if I send him, you know, we have Zidane running. If that guy follows Zidane, which he doesn't, but if he does, and we send Ronaldo towards Zidane, if that could happen, maybe we have some more space for Ronaldinho. Unfortunately, in FIFA 20, you cannot do that. Now, here's the great news. And I really do think this could be the one thing that they're adding that might make a big impact on how you attack in FIFA 21. So, previously, you had almost no control over where your players go. You know, you could bring them towards you, you could send them away from you. There's no real rhyme or reason besides like you are the point, the focal point that they're focusing around. This year, there's a couple options. So first of all, one of the things you can do is when I send Zidane on this run, now I can also, after I press the button to send him on a run, I can also flick the right stick in the direction I want him to run. So let's say I want him to move him to the top, right? Move him to the top of the field, open up space for me, and then keep him on the wing as an outlet. So I could just press RB, flick the stick up, he goes out there, he opens himself up into a potential option. Same with support. I can send my support where I want it to go. So if coming up here, we have Ronaldinho, if I think maybe his support would be better further out on the wing, you know, maybe more parallel to me, I could send him up in that direction instead of having him come just straight towards me. Your attack can become much more creative. You can do a lot more stuff. It's more fluid, right? But that's not the only thing. So it's not just your AI. If this was FIFA 21, right here when I pass the ball to Ronaldinho, what I could do is I could tap in both my sticks, click them in R3, R L3, and now I would keep control of Baresi, so I could send him on a run and open him up with Ronaldinho's AI controlling the ball. And then whenever I want to pass back to Baresi, I just press whatever button, you know, A for a ground pass, Y for a through ball, you know, cross, whatever I need to do, we can make it happen. Now, the one thing I will say is in my limited time with FIFA 21, one of the things I did notice is a lot of times you have to make that run really quickly. You know, it's not for something intricate to set up. It's got to be something, it's got to be pretty snappy, like a give and go type pass, because too often that AI is losing the ball. And, you know, it's not unacceptable. You know, you can't just let them hold the ball forever and then let you set up whatever you want. So you do, but it is, you know, it's a risk. It's definitely still a risk, but it does let you set up some more creative runs as you go. This feature on its own, I think it's going to be the standout thing gameplay-wise for FIFA 21 because so much of your attack currently feels very, very static and feels, there's only so many options of what you can do, especially if you're not someone who's good at skills like me, you're going to struggle at times to set up good attacks. You're going to stall right here even, and right in front of the box of that attacking third. If your players aren't moving, they're just kind of being stagnant. This kind of thing is going to help you out a lot, in my opinion. But, creative runs are not the only thing to talk about. So let's move on to a few of the other things that we can look at that are coming in FIFA 21. Okay, so let's talk about the super cancel. This is something that I think a lot of people have been asking for, the ability to cancel out of any button press with another button press. It's something that we've seen with, we have fake cross, fake shot. You can cancel your shot if you're going to set up another angle, or if you think that you're just going to get blocked, you can set up a cross for the same reason. But skill moves, you cannot currently cancel out of, which if your opponent reads you correctly, leaves you open to getting the ball taken from you. So here I'm playing as Ronaldinho with the World A team. We're against beginner AI just to set it up easier. First, you're going to see something in the game. So this is I think I did a fake cross. I might have done a fake shot. Doesn't really matter. Same difference when we're in the box. So I'm going to move in the box here. Pretty simple. You see this all the time in FIFA. Little fake cross to take this guy off. Now, the guy in front of me he doesn't react, which is fine. This is just to show off. But see how that guy keeps going forward? Now I have some space. I can make a pass right there to, I believe that's Eusebio. No, it's Pele to Pele. But, I'm not going to do that. So next, we're going to keep going. And you're going to see a little bit maybe what we could talk about. So here, I'm going to do a skill move. I'm going to try to turn around this guy. Now, it works because we're on beginner AI. But if, we're playing against maybe someone on FUT Champs and they're reading me better, maybe I've been doing stuff like this during the game, maybe they wouldn't make this lunge and they would stop me. They'd come on the right way, right? But in this case, the guy does it wrong. I get around them very simply and we have a wide open goal. Well, the goalie's there, but come on, near post. It's going to go in every time, especially on beginner AI. So basically, what the super cancel is going to let you do is when you set up for a spin move, which I love to do on Ronaldinho. It's pretty much my go-to move with him because he's turned so fast. And I kind of did a slower one here so you could see it better. But if the guy is going the right way, then maybe right here, super cancel out, set back up, and not have to commit to the spin. So this is just, this is one very, very small example, and I am not a very good skiller. So I assume in the hands of somebody who's actually good at this part of the game, that will look way better and be very, very effective, especially for some of your top-end players. So let's move on to the next example. All right, one thing that is very difficult to show off, whether I have FIFA 21 in front of you or not, is something the team is calling positioning personality. Essentially, this is a new way for honestly, it's kind of hard to describe, but I guess the easiest thing to say is that they're trying to make players feel like they would in real life. So an example that I use in my write-up is the idea of Harry Kane. He's in FIFA 20, he's unusable almost in FUT because he is a tall, low-pace striker, which does not fit the meta at all. You can use him in places, but you have to get very specific. You can't just play the same way everyone else does if you want to play with Harry Kane. The positioning personality is the idea that, Harry Kane is a top striker in the world, and he knows how to play that position better than almost anybody. So the idea would be that, if you send him on a run, if you compare Harry Kane with, I don't know, someone from the MLS that barely plays or something, Harry Kane is going to be able to much better hold that line and stay on side for that one last ball to get him into a scoring position. So here, again, this is tough to show off, but let's just look at this play right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Maradona on a run into the box. Now, just for the video, I held the ball longer than I would. Like usually you're going to pass right about there. but instead I hold the ball to make sure he's offside. And there he is, he's offside. He's gonna, oh no. He hits the post too, so it's a perfect FIFA 20 clip. Oop, all right. So, but what the idea would be is for positioning personality, if, you know, Maradona's not a striker, but if we had, you know, someone like Harry Kane in here, maybe right here, he can see his line. He notices, ooh, I'm about to run offside, but look at this. I'm about to get this ball. So instead of just sprinting offside and like standing there and not knowing what to do, maybe Harry Kane right here holds up, does a little chop step or something, holds himself onside just for that one last second. Probably in this case, because I waited so long, he's going to be offside no matter what. But the idea is players like that will feel different. Now, this isn't just in the attack. There's also, when I was playing the demo, I felt it a lot more on defense, in that the best defenders in the world are going to recognize space and close it down better than just your everyday Joe. And, you know, it's not something you notice all the time, but definitely there are moments where you can see this taking an effect. And the hope is that they can make players like Harry Kane or, you know, Koulibaly, Bonucci, some of the best players in the world who just aren't viable in Ultimate Team, more viable based on things like this. It gives them a new way to put in stats and give them like some more personality to their position, which, you know, is the name of the system. This is something that I think we're going to need to see a lot more in action before we really get an idea for how good it's going to be. But it has some potential. You know, I don't think it's going to change the game like the creative runs will, but I think that this is something they could do. I mean, they could drop the ball completely like they did last year with manual tackling, but there's potential here. Okay, so don't get your hopes up too high, but maybe you Tottenham supporters out there will finally have your striker. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, this next one I couldn't get, of course, because, you know, the feature has not been implemented. I couldn't get a very good thing to show you that kind of illustrates what we're looking at. But they talked a little bit at the press event that I attended before playing the demo about better natural collision. So a lot of people who play FIFA 20 will recognize what's about to happen to Maradona here. We got through this guy. Again, keep in mind it's on beginner, so this is really easy, just for the purpose of the video. Don't think I'm that good at the game or anything. You know, not that you would. And we make the tackle. Ball's out. We win the ball. But we're stuck on this guy. We're stuck on him. We can't move. And he keeps the ball. So we make the tackle, but because this kind of collision is still in the game of FIFA 20 where, you know, it's not natural. I guess someone could lay on top of you and hold you from getting the ball after you tackle them, but most likely the defensive player is going to get this ball in most scenarios. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen here. So the goal, I believe, is how it was described to us, is to take stuff like this out of the way. So one of the things they showed off was more the detection on a loose ball. So previously, one player could not jump over another player, which would lead to some truly wacky plays that would never happen in a real game. And now this year, they say they've implemented a way for players to jump over another player and other things like that, to where it's going to cut down, hopefully, on some of those more ridiculous scenarios. And this is just one of those small things that, you know, you really do hope that they implement, because so many times in FIFA 20, the action on the field just doesn't reflect what it would look like in real life. And this is one of the bigger reasons, because the way players interact with each other is just so unnatural. You know, this thing right here where he's just giving me a little kiss on the neck would never happen in a real game. I mean, I would hope not. I mean, I guess Suarez did bite that guy's ear, didn't he? So maybe that's what's happening right here. Who can say? But let's look at some other stuff that they're planning to implement into FIFA 21. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about just briefly is the new difficulty level they're adding in. So in FIFA 21, if you play on legendary difficulty, you'll be able to turn on what they call competitor mode. And essentially, this is going to be the mode for players who want to make their squad battles or their career mode gameplay feel more like you know, you would in Rivals or FUT Champs, except hopefully without the lag. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to try and have the AI replicate some of the top pros. So like here, you know, I lose the ball. I should mention we switched from playing as Colchester to playing as Tottenham after we roasted Harry Kane a little bit earlier. And we're also on world class, no longer on beginner. So here they win the ball back from me off a bad pass. And you'll notice that what I'm going to do here is something that is very common for people who play AI and, you know, only are looking, you know, maybe you're playing squad battles, you just want to get your points, right? So you see here, you know, in FIFA 20, the meta is not, any headers don't work. Well, I shouldn't say don't work, they very rarely work. So the crossing meta, a lot of people, you know, don't use it. It's hard to cross effectively in FIFA 20, unlike how it was in FIFA 19. So what a lot of people do, including myself, when I just want to get the points, is I funnel the AI to the outside and they will more than happily take that space. So you see here, I'm just going to let him have that. We're going to open it up completely. I'm going to move inside, let him have the outside. And now he's cut off from everything. There's not really much he's going to be able to do because if he does send it across, it's probably not going to work. I mean, it might work, who knows, but it's probably not going to work. He ends up trying to pass it forward to a guy that's offside. But basically what you should note is that he just takes that space immediately and tries to use it. And I know in my head that he cannot because it is not effective, right? So competitor mode, there's a few things I noticed. First of all, you also notice here, and you probably notice in your own gameplay of FIFA 20, is that the AI almost never does skill moves. With competitor mode turned on, they will spam skill moves. And that's probably putting it a little harsh. They like to step over, okay? They love doing the step over in competitor mode. You know, they don't use it as effectively as maybe some of the best players do, but it is effective. You know, it's not just them running and passing. You know, it adds a little bit more creativity into their attack. But also one of the things I noticed is they are much less likely. You know, I know Legendary is a bump up from World Class, but I feel like the same things happen whether you're playing Legendary or World Class. Ultimate difficulty is a bit of a different story, but for those two, you know, higher end difficulty levels for the AI, it feels pretty similar. But with competitor mode turned on, they feel like they're not attacking quite as much on the outside. They don't go to the wings by default. You know, you see a little bit more variance in their attack. You see them attack the center of the field. You see them go from the outside. You see them do crosses. You see them, you know, actually do passes that matter, through balls, stuff that actually works. And it's not like I struggled to win against competitor that much. In fact, I think I played like 8 games on competitor and was like 5-3 maybe, something like that. So it's not, you know, this incredibly difficult challenge like Ultimate Mode was last year when they just tuned every player's stats, no matter who you're playing, to all 99s across the board. But it is a bit more challenging than Legendary, and it's a bit more fun because it's less formulaic. You know, their attack is not the exact same every single time. So that creativity adds a bit more into the game for you career mode players or people who like squad battles. But yeah, I mean, again, you can't really see it in FIFA 20 gameplay, but I hope it gives you an idea of like what is coming and what could be, you know, major changes for gameplay in FIFA 21. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. If you have, you know, if you want to hear more, you want to, I guess not here, if you want to read more, I have a full write-up on DualShockers.com about FIFA 21's gameplay. I cannot, as I mentioned before, can't show off any of the game myself, but presumably when this video is out, EA will have some stuff up for you. And in the coming weeks, we'll have more coverage of things like career mode and Ultimate Team and Volta, Pro Clubs, all the modes you know and love. We're going to have more coverage of that once EA is ready to share more of it. So this is Ricky Frech, Senior Staff Writer for DualShockers.com, signing off. Make sure to check out the site and all of our content here on YouTube, and we'll see you next time. Bye.